Are you making calls to your sphere every single day? Well, today we have a top producer that tells you it's an absolute must. Stay tuned. This episode of Keeping It Real is brought to you by Real Geeks. How many homes are you going to sell this year? Do you have the right tools? Is your website turning soft leads into interested buyers? Are you spending money on leads that aren't converting? Well, Real Geeks is your solution. Find out why agents across the country choose Real Geeks as their technology partner. Real Geeks was created by an agent for agents. They pride themselves on delivering a sales and marketing solution so that you can easily generate more business. Their agent websites are fast and built for lead conversion with a smooth search experience for your visitors. Real Geeks also includes an easy-to-use agent CRM. So once a lead signs up on your website, you can track their interest and have great follow-up conversations. Real Geeks is loaded with a ton of marketing tools to nurture your leads and increase brand awareness. Visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod and find out why realtors come to Real Geeks to generate more business. Again, visit realgeeks.com/keepingitrealpod. And now, onto our show. Today's episode is brought to you by Corded.io. Are you looking for agents to join your brokerage or team? Now, as a real estate recruiter, I can tell you the answer is always yes. But most agents aren't looking to move right now. So how do you know who to contact? Well, what if I were to tell you there's a recruiting and retention tool powered by artificial intelligence that shows you exactly which agents in your local market are looking to leave their brokerage right now, and which agents at your own firm are also looking to leave you? Now, I've been recruiting realtors for 15 years and I've hired over 2,000 agents. I can tell you with no exaggeration, this is the tool I've been waiting for. Corded's AI looks for trends across dozens of variables for each agent in your market and shows you which agents they believe are likely to move. Not only does it do that, but Corded's AI went and visited my recruiting website and read everything I offer. So now when I'm recruiting, Corded's AI tells me exactly what to say based on that agent's needs and what my brokerage can offer. It even writes emails for me. I've never seen anything like it, and I use it every single day. Now, if you are looking to grow your brokerage, Corded.io is the best tool out there. Visit Corded.io to schedule a demo. Again, that's Corded.io. And now, onto the show. Hello and welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real, the largest podcast made by real estate agents and for real estate agents. My name is DJ Paris. I'm your guide. I'm your host through the show. And in just a moment, you're going to hear a conversation I had, actually a webinar that we had, so a live conversation with Amy Duong Kim, one of the top agents here in Chicago. She has been a top agent, top 1% agent for the last 15 plus years, and she's going to share her exact strategy for what she does every single day. And guess what? It hasn't changed since her very first day as a realtor. So you're going to hear exactly what she does to grow her business, to sustain her business. And the good news is you can do exactly these same activities. So you're going to hear just some really great habits and you can employ those yourself. As always, please tell a friend about this podcast. The more people that listen, the more shows we can do, and the more advice we can give you, and the more people we can feature. So please tell everybody in your office about us. We appreciate you for that. Also, leave us a review. Whatever podcast app you're listening to us on, let us know what you think of the show. That helps us get in front of more eyeballs and ears as well. And last, follow us on social. We post content, actually short form video content, every single day. So whatever you're on, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you will find us, just do a search for Keeping It Real Podcast. We have different names on different channels. So you just reach out. And if you can't find us, let us know. We'll find it for you. But we're pretty easy to find. All right, guys, this is actually a live webinar that I did with Amy Duong Kim with all of you, and you may not have been there for that. So here's your opportunity to hear that conversation. We're going to be doing more of these in the future and also do some live tapings so you can actually hear an audience respond as well. All right, let's get to it. My conversation with Amy Duong Kim. Welcome to our fourth live webinar in 2025. It's our fourth ever. In the 7 years we've been doing this podcast, we have not ever been able to interact with you live. And this is a very exciting thing that I am just going to turn this down here over there. There we go. So this is our fourth. We do these monthly, and we have had such a great response to this from our audience that it is just so much fun. We're going to keep doing it. So today is no exception. We have 3 amazing sessions for you. I want to first thank the company that's making this all possible, because this does cost money for us to put this on, and we're so excited to be able to do that for you. So I'm going to ask you for a favor from our sponsor. They didn't ask for this, but I'm going to ask on their behalf. So A&N Mortgage is our sponsor today. They were unable to attend, but that's okay, because they're going to be reaching out to each one of you to ask, you to give them a shot when it comes to your next loan or your next buy-side deal. They are amazing. They're here locally in Chicago, but they work pretty much all over the country. So if you're not in the local Chicago area, don't worry. They are absolutely one of the very best lenders I've ever worked with. They just get stuff done. They get things closed. They're independent, so they can shop your rates around, and they're just amazing, nice people. So A&N Mortgage, we will have them reach out to you after this presentation. They'll send you an email, maybe even give you a call. And all I ask is that on your next transaction, let them be your backup offer. If you already have a lender that you work with, great. Well, let them be your backup just in case. And if you don't have one, if you don't have a good relationship, or you want to see what else is out there, give them a shot. They are awesome, and they're making this all happen for free. So in our first one we did have to charge for it, and people showed up, but we don't have to do that with great sponsors like A&N. So thank you, A&N Mortgage. We are huge fans, and we will send you guys more information about A&N after the webinar. We will also be sending you the videos. So I will get that out to you probably in the next week. So we will, if you have to leave at any time, don't worry. We'll be able to shoot you that content. And also, we're going to be making this into episodes for the podcast. So even if you miss that, you'll be able to watch it. And we're going to make them into video episodes and audio episodes, so you'll see them in our stream. If you're not currently a subscriber, really encourage you to pull up a podcast app, search for Keeping It Real. There's unfortunately a bunch of podcasts called Keeping It Real. One with Jillian Michaels, if you remember from I think she was The Biggest Loser in The Biggest Loser. So she's awesome. You can subscribe to hers, but also subscribe to mine. And that you'll look for the one that says DJ Paris. You'll find it pretty easily. We're pretty easy to find. And also our website's keepingitrealpodcast.com, keepingitrealpod.com. And you can also listen to every episode we've ever done there. We have over 600 and 600 and maybe close to 50 episodes at this point. So we're really, really grateful to be able to have done this for you for 7 years. We're going to keep doing it, and it's just a lot of fun. And also, please tell a friend, tell them about our monthly webinar here, but also tell them to become a subscriber to our show. Really appreciate it. We've never spent really much or any, I don't think I've ever spent any money on advertising. So I just rely upon our listeners and our viewers to let other agents know this is why we do this. It's our little gift to you guys. And it's really a thank you from me for having this job in the industry where I get to do this. And I also want to thank my boss, Nick. He is the owner of our company, Kale Realty. I'm the president of sales and marketing over here, and he lets me do this, which is super generous because it doesn't help him that I do this, but it certainly is a nice way to give back to the industry. And if you're in the local Chicago area and you would like to just see what other firms are offering, I would always be honored to speak to you. You can actually learn more about us at joinkale.com. In fact, I'll encourage everybody to go there if you have a few minutes during the presentation today, not to try to pitch our services to you, but I just redid the website, and I took months to build it, and I'm super proud of it. I think it looks really cool. And again, I just would love some feedback. So I'm not a practicing agent, right? So I really rely upon people who are agents to take a look and just pretend that you were looking for a new brokerage, and let me know if it's something that looks good, if it flows well. Again, I'm not here to pitch you to join us, but certainly would love your feedback on that website. I spent a lot of time on it, and I think it looks pretty cool, but I don't know, I only know my taste. So check it out, joinkale.com. One other thing I'd like you to do, please feel free to use the chat. The chat should be available. Is it available? Zana can look into that. It is. I believe it's available. So you can put all of your questions in. We'll have Amy up in just a moment, and also for our other panelists too. And if somebody can just, awesome. It is available. Zana just wrote Zana's our producer, so please, if you want to ever give a thank you, don't give a thank you to me, give a thank you to her. She's been with the show for, I think, almost 6 years now, almost since the very beginning, and she's the reason we do all these episodes. She's the reason they get done. She is just so important to me and this podcast, and I couldn't do it without her. And she gets none of the praise that I get, unfortunately. So let's give her some thanks if you're a fan of what we do. And also, I have got a new segment that I'm working on for the show, and I think we're going to be able to figure out how to do it, where it's going to be called Bring Your Problems. So what I'd like you to do, if you have just a moment, throw in the chat whatever your biggest current challenge in your real estate business. Could be everything from prospecting to, inventory, lending rates. What else could it be? It could be tariffs and the political climate. Maybe that's causing some fear around with your clients. Maybe it's negotiating. Maybe it's getting your offers accepted. Whatever you're currently experiencing, please let us know what that is. Throw it in the chat. I'm going to be reaching out to each one of you as a thank you for jumping on today, but all in the next week, and to ask you just personally, hey, tell me what's going on in your business. Where are you finding challenges? Because I want to create solutions for you. I can bring that to the podcast. We can do episodes around it, or I could just even give you answers right there over like the phone or a little webinar thing. So I'm excited to chat with each one of you, and we'll be doing that over the next week. So look out for that. All right, I think that's enough sort of information. Oh, we were going to be taking breaks at the 50-minute mark at here in about 40 minutes, as well as at let's see, it'll be 1:50 Central Time as well. So 12:50 Central Time, 1:50. We'll be taking 10-minute break so we can all refresh. So don't worry, but please don't be shy. Say hello in the chat, and let's make sure that, can somebody just write something in the chat? I just want to make sure that you can, because I know sometimes we've done this and people couldn't. Let me just go. There we go. All right, we can do the chat. Thank you, Dorothy. And all right, guys, let's get started. We have an amazing guest and a friend of mine, and I'm so honored to call her a friend because she is just an incredible businesswoman and somebody in this industry and in our local community here that is really very well respected, and I'm excited to have her on the show. And she's really, really busy, so we are excited to have her. We're so honored. So her name is Amy Duong Kim. She is the team lead at Duong Kim Global at Compass. And let me tell you more about her. She's a senior broker and the founding member, also an alumni of a University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign with a Bachelor of Science in Actuarial Science. Kind of interesting, right? Prior to a real estate career, she worked as an actuarial consultant. Amy's ability to adapt quickly to the real estate market has allowed her to take each opportunity as a learning moment, ultimately creating a stepping stone that really helped accelerate her career. She has been able to help many people find and sell their homes, and is also extremely proficient on the commercial side. She's a dual threat. Amy's achievements include accolades from the Chicago Association of Realtors, Chicago Agent Magazine, Jameson Sotheby's International Realty, and 5-star reviews on Yelp, LinkedIn, and Zillow. She has consistently ranked on Real Trends nationally and has been featured in Time Out Chicago, Chicago Tribune, Curbed, Yahoo, Wall Street Journal, ABC News, and even the Today Show on NBC. So without further ado, and well, by the way, we'll have Amy's social tags and handles in the show, in the webinar chat here. So please subscribe to her on Instagram. She's on TikTok. She's all over Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube as well. So anyway, we'll have that information in there. But welcome, Amy. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. And I have a funny story. So last time I was on your show, someone did reach out to me, and I legit like a year later, and she was an actuarial science major and she wanted to get into real estate. So we had like the loveliest conversation. She was asking me how to get into the business and everything like that. So I want to share that information.
That's awesome.
Please, if you have questions, reach out.
Yeah, I also want to mention too that Amy, we were just talking about this before we went live. Amy is also a mentor to 5 realtors, not realtors at her company, not realtors on her team, to 5 other realtors that she has chosen to mentor, or actually they chose her, but she made that available. This is just how generous and kind of a person she is. And fun fact, Amy and I were both at the Kentucky Derby, not together, but we met up. We had our fancy outfits on, and it was really fun to see her outside of our local Chicago community here. But she's awesome, and maybe I'll get to see her at the U.S. Open this year as well because she's headed there too. So really, really fun to have you here, Amy, and glad to have you back on the show. Now, this is a tough market. I keep hearing that. We have 700 agents here at Kale. They're telling me it's tough. I talk to top producers. I just talked to one of the big top producers just the other day, ran into him at the gym, and I said, "How's it going?" Because he's always doing well. And he said, "It's the hardest spring I've ever had." He said, "I'm doing okay, but it's hard." So I imagine it's pretty tough for all of us. And just curious on kind of what you and your team are seeing right now. Like, what's a challenge for you? And then what are you doing to sort of address that?
So definitely low inventory is a huge challenge right now. Surprisingly, I am typically 50% sellers, 50% buyers. This year in particular, it's actually more sellers. So I'm grateful for that. And when preparing for this podcast, I actually really wanted to focus why. And I think the biggest thing that I had gone into prospecting was figuring out solutions for those sellers that I had. So that's finding their new house or next house, or figuring out how to change one of their investment properties into a different investment property. Because when you have lack of inventory, you have to find solutions on the back end first before you can get them as a listing. And did I think that is the major piece that has made us get more listings this 2025 versus any other year, when typically historically we're exactly 50-50.
Are you having to persuade owners who aren't yet wanting to list that this is now the time, or are they coming to you, or is it a mix of both?
I would say it's a mix of both. I wouldn't say it's persuasion. I would say, here are some realistic questions that are outside of you just having a low interest rate and you feeling comfortable with the price that you own in your home. I think does the home still work for you? And you probably need an extra bedroom because you had another child, or your parents are moving in with you, so maybe you need a larger house for that, or your son is going to college, so maybe it's a good time to downsize. So I think it's conversations, and then that's how I find the solution. I think when you go in, every seller will be like, no, I'm good, houses are too crazy expensive, my interest rate is so low, I'm not going to get this back. But I think it's finding solutions to, if it's the house that they own is still the right fit. And if you approach it that way, it becomes, I'm not going to say it's still easy because you still have to find something for them, but I think it puts a bug in their ear, thinking like, okay, well, maybe we do need to it's just like looking at your stock portfolio. And I don't mean to bring this up at this current junction of the year, but typically, historically, you look at it at least once or twice a year, typically, now more than ever. But and then you adjust where you need to adjust. You don't just think that this is going to be your forever house anymore. So if you approach it that way, I think that's very helpful.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. We're basically talking about having conversations around life events and
Yes.
sort of what people's needs are in the immediate term and then also the future. And then I think there's also an argument to be made, or at least a conversation to be had around if you don't want to give up that 3% rate, of course, which nobody does. But if you'd be getting a home at a slightly lower price today because there aren't as many buyers flooding the market, there's an argument to be made for that, I think, and certainly if rates dropped, 100 basis points today, all of a sudden it would become way more competitive very quickly and prices would start skyrocketing. So I know prices are still high no matter what, but it'll be interesting. Now, you're an ex-actuarial, you love data, you love looking at numbers. What's your sort of take on pricing? We know that in the last 5 years, values have gone up in most markets. So if you bought in the last 5 years, you're probably somewhat happy at the moment of what your current home value is. But where do you sort of see that going? I know nobody has a crystal ball, but what are you sort of seeing out there?
Yeah. The single family house market historically since COVID has always done really, really well. And I don't see that to be changing anytime soon. I mean, the tariffs definitely throw a wrench in things in terms of affordability. I think it's too early to see how that's going to affect our lives, and how far it will go and how expensive things will get. But single family houses are super strong. The Gold Coast and River North are soft. Actually, I tell clients all the time, I think that if you're not finding what you want in other neighborhoods, to actually circle back to neighborhoods like Gold Coast and River North, because those are very soft prices compared to what it was before. So this could be a really great opportunity, because I do think it will come back at some point to what it was prior to COVID. Um, yeah, so the here's the thing. It's very interesting that I don't know how far we want to go in this conversation. I think about real estate all the time. I think Texas and Florida, if there's any Texans or Floridians out there, I'm not knocking your states. I'm just stating that due to like the current climate and lack of insurance situation, and I think the grass isn't always greener in these other states. I think people are coming back to Chicago. I think that uh, I think that our appreciation is still going to grow. We don't have that much new construction in the market. So I think no matter what, it's always a good time to buy, in my opinion, always a good time to buy real estate in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area, suburbs included.
Yeah, and Florida is a great example of a state that's just been hit really hard with
Yes.
lots of inventory. It's a lot of it's insurance related,
Mhm.
and boy, yeah. So anyone in Florida, we know it's a trickier time for you right now. But yeah, there's opportunities elsewhere now. Curious about what you're doing to find new buyers and sellers. So understand you already have a sphere of influence and you're hitting those people with communication. I'm sure you're reaching out. We'll talk about what you're doing with your existing sphere, but as far as adding to your sphere, what are some of the activities that you and your team do to keep that database growing?
Mhm. Well, it's funny. Like this is my 20th year being a realtor, and you can never assume, even when I was new versus 20 years later, and I suppose the track record that I have, I still do the same thing. I still reach out to clients. So I can never assume that my clients are going to be with me forever and without any nurturing. So that is very important. I you you do have to have a pipeline. I think that's very important for newer agents and agents that don't necessarily have a huge amount of production, is to realize that just because you talk to this person and meet them at an open house, they could be a buyer 2 years from now, not right now. So really, I mean, the number that I have in terms of how many people I speak to is very large, because I want to be working, I want my pipeline to always be full. But if prospecting is your least favorite thing to do, which is a lot of realtors' least favorite thing to do, I would actually start very, very small. And sometimes I don't want to call or text people too, but I make it a rule that I have to prospect at least one person a day. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but usually it then becomes leads to that I like prospect more. I just have to jumpstart it. If I say I'm going to call for 2 hours, I'm never going to do that because that sounds horrible. But if I say, okay, I got to text this one person, I got to do it today, or else I'm not, or else like I didn't complete my tasks, it usually then kind of breaks that barrier of doing something that I don't really like to do. So that would be my, like, if you take anything away from this podcast, make a habit of reaching out to one person a day. So that, and then, if you want to grow it, you can grow it. If you want to keep it one person a day, you can do that too. But you still will have a good amount, like you would be doing it every day. That's great.
Yeah, and if there's
5 contacts a year.
Yeah, yeah. If you're only working 200 business days a year, it's still 200 people. And if you assume, even if I'm terrible at prospecting or I'm not so great at nurturing, even if I only get 2% or 4% of those people, in the next 12 months to list or buy a home with me, it's still decent numbers for a little bit of work every day. It's kind of like spending 10 minutes cleaning your home every day. It just like it can get maybe 10 minutes isn't enough for a lot of us, but I live in a small condo,
Well, it's
so
like
I can
making
do
your
that.
bed. Just think
Yeah.
about it like making your bed.
Yep.
It's an accomplishment, and then and you will. It may not be feel like it right away, but after a certain amount of time, then you can grow that to five, and then there's no exact number, and then you just don't realize you're prospecting.
Yeah, this is how I grew this podcast, which was just doing an episode after next episode after next episode. And I never had any particular goal. And I thought that it's important. I think goals can be tricky. I think
Mhm.
direction is better than goals. Like I know I'm heading this way and
Yeah,
whatever happens ends up happening. And
yeah,
yes, and I should be able to measure where I'm at. That's good. But I also don't want to be disappointed, right? So I just kind of want to go, I know if I keep doing push-ups, my arms are going to stay strong. Like I know that's just going to happen. So
yeah.
if I keep doing the workouts, if I keep doing episodes, if I keep prospecting, I have to do that for my business here. I have to keep prospecting, looking for agents to join us. And, it's not like one day 500 agents came over. It's never been that. I've been doing these 14 years. It's been one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. And then sometimes people leave and that happens too. So you have to replace those people. And, we're up to 700 now. And it's not because I'm super persuasive. It's just because I do the prospecting every day. So that's such a great tip is do those, make that. And if you need an accountability partner, get one. Get another agent who also needs to do that every day and just call each other once a day and say, okay, we're going to do it right now. And then you can call yourselves at the end and say, we did it. And I always think it's always the little things like you were saying. Um, let's talk about um, sort of offers right now because I think offers are tricky right now. There's a lot going on. And I just would love to hear some best practices because you get a lot of listings. You also work with a lot of buyers. You see offers coming in from other agents. You know what a good offer looks like. What are some of the do's and don'ts for submitting offers to other agents?
Well, I mean, your sponsor, A&N Mortgage, having a fantastic lender makes a world of difference. They're very big in the real estate community. People know who they are. When I know I'm having a pre-approval from them, then I know that I have confidence that the transaction is going to go smoothly in the financial part. So having a really fantastic lender who is accessible is that plays a huge thing, a huge role. Secondly, a lot of people are waiving escalation riders. So I always do evaluation and discuss and educate my clients on how far they want to go with that and with my buyers. And doing things like waiving appraisal, waiving inspection. These I would say before doing an as is would have been okay. Having your escalation rider would have been okay. But I would say what we're seeing in our listings is waiving inspection, waiving appraisal. And
No, no, that's great. And I also am curious too about sort of the aesthetics of submitting an offer because some people just email a PDF or, it's literally just nothing in the body of the email and it's just a PDF, that now the agent has to look through. A lot of agents don't call the listing agent afterwards saying, I just want to make sure you got it. Or, take a look if there's anything in there that, it concerns you, let me know. I want to get this deal closed. So I'm curious, what as a listing agent, when you see offers coming in, what really impresses you, like aesthetically? Like, do you like seeing a summary of it in the email body or like a summary page? Like, what do you like to see?
yeah, that's a good point. Yes, I do like to see a summary page now that commission is negotiable or always was negotiable, but that, we don't, it could be different from, the listing agent and the sellers are not the ones who are dictating that, it's the buyers who are. So putting that into is really important. So because we typically just forward to our buyers and then we make a spreadsheet. Of course I would make a spreadsheet. So I make a spreadsheet with all the offers and then a bottom line too, because you have to do an apples to apples comparison. So earnest money, if you are waiving any of those things like that. I actually do like when the lender reaches out too and say, hey, they're very pre-approved. You don't need to worry about them as buyers. So I find that very helpful as well. So not just the agent, but the lender. I've actually had attorneys call. I don't think you need to do that. And my attorney's not going to call. So, but but I appreciate that that buyer has a strong team behind them to want to close the deal. Um, sometimes, yes, sometimes I do call and I even state my client is aware that these are older windows and older roof. So I just want to, even though we're signing it as is, I want to make it very clear we are aware of these two things anyways. So this will not be brought up at like during attorney review.
The 11th hour. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So just things like that, like I have educated my clients about XYZ. So this will not be an issue. And you've actually to a point with I don't have as many buyers now, but during like the COVID time, I've actually had realtors who have said to me, I know you close deals, Amy, because I know you educate your clients to get to the finish line. So this is why my clients have decided to proceed with your offer. So I don't really paint a rosy picture for my buyers. I make it very clear how much things are going to cost them. Um, I don't want them to be upset with me later or misguide them. And this is what our goal is. So you have to you have to realize sometimes it's not always what they want to hear, But this is how they win offers and deals, is they know the full picture.
As a listing agent, I'm curious, when you get multiple offers, and this is just a rough estimate, what percentage of the time do the buyer agents call you to make sure you got the email, make sure they introduce themselves to you? Like, is it 75% of the time? Is it 50%? Is it 100%? Like, how often are you actually getting the call along with the emailed offer?
I don't think many people call as much as you would think, but it's a lot of text.
Yeah. Does everybody text? Does everyone do something other than the email, or no?
I would say it's like 50%.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's just a
But
great tip right
I
there.
also I also do respond very quickly. Like once I get the offer, I say that I received because I've been on the other side too. I know it sucks. So I just want, and if you're listing, you say you received something to make them
Yeah.
like feel comfortable that they've gotten it. So like when I'm super busy or like on the road, I'm slow, a little bit slower, but I try once I receive it, I say that I received it. So they know that we have acknowledged it, that we have it, that the sellers are aware of it.
Let's talk about systems because I know that as a data person, you love systems. Systems are repeatable, systems are, efficient, or they certainly aspire to be, and they just make life a lot easier. You don't have to
Yeah.
keep recreating, the wheel. And in my life, people consider me disciplined, which the irony is I have almost no discipline on that Clifton Strength Finder. Actually, Amy and I have both done the Clifton Strength Finder that Gallup puts out, and they tell you the 34 characteristics. They tell you you're number one all the way down to 34. Number 33 for me is discipline. I'm like, literally, it's the second most challenging thing for me. And yet people think I'm disciplined because I have systems. And again, it's because I don't have discipline that I need systems. So I want
Mhm.
to, and I want to get your take on systems related to, communication with clients,
Mhm.
marketing, prospecting, just basically staying in touch. How important are systems to you? And can you give us some examples of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, so I don't try any new marketing tactics or marketing like ideas until fourth quarter of 20 any year. So and I really think about what worked, what didn't work, what we should try again, what we should like if we want to try new like mailing farming situation. All of that doesn't I don't think about marketing at all. until every quarter, the fourth quarter of every year. That's when I really kind of delve in and decide how I'm going to spend my big marketing dollars. Of course, like when listings come, we do photography, videography, things like that, and there could be one-offs and whatnot. But for the most part, just figuring out where our money goes in terms of marketing, we don't, and where our efforts lie and what we should take away and what we should put in does not happen until fourth quarter of every year. So that was something that, like, because I felt like I was getting distracted for the rest of the year. So if I really think about all of my, like, the marketing plan in just 1 month, it's just I would say it cleared my mind for the rest of the year to focus on clients. So we do monthly newsletters. You have to post every single day. Well, at least 5 times a week. I guess I don't
On
even
social media?
on social media 5 times a week, at minimum 5 times a week. So these are like thresholds that no matter what, no matter how busy you are, whatever, even when I was like having babies and like in labor, it had to be 5 days a week in social media. I have 3 kids, so um, so monthly newsletter, because I don't like to inundate my social sphere of influence too many times with email. That I just want to like stay on top of, people like my monthly newsletters. So monthly newsletter, social media five
Let
times.
me let me pause you real quick on the social media. So, posting 5 times a week, how often is that a static image, a text sort of post with an image, and how often is it a video?
Hmm. Yeah, actually, I was doing reels a lot before, but no, so I'm on TikTok, your dot Chicago Realtor, so you guys can find me there. I actually have a little more fun with that because I actually think TikTok is intended and meant to like be in part of someone's life. So I'm usually getting ready for the day. I'm like putting makeup on and I tell like it's a get ready with me. So it's a get ready with me. I will do videos of course my listings, or if I do like go see a cool place, or I had this crazy piano in one of my houses, so I put it in there. So but I do have a lot more fun with TikTok. I would not say I don't put the same stuff on this all of the different platforms.
Ah, interesting. So you
Yeah.
put different types of content on different platforms.
Well, mainly on TikTok and Instagram. And Instagram and Facebook are the same because it just feeds into two, but my TikTok page is not the same as my Instagram page. No. So Instagram is a little bit more static. I do some reels, but I don't do a ton. I know it does feed into it, but I think that it's just a like I think the grid, Instagram just has that grid, so that works really well for that
Mhm.
platform to do a little bit more static versus reels. So yeah, we're just playing around with it for a little bit. But yeah, and also I think our goal for TikTok, those are not the clients that are going to be buying tomorrow. I think those are the clients who are going to be buying in 5 years. So I really want to create a relationship with with that audience. Whereas I would say for Instagram, it's really my colleagues, like, my colleagues in Chicago, my colleagues outside of Chicago, referral based. I will get some buyers, but I don't think that that would be the goal for Instagram and Facebook. It's my sphere of influence. It's referrals, and it's like Chicagoland realtors that we stay connected.
Yeah, let's talk about sort of appreciation, client appreciation. I know you do holiday gifts. I don't know if you do events as well, but talk to us about how you stay engaged through that kind of like after the sale stuff. I obviously you mentioned they're getting newsletters, they're seeing you on social, but you're also doing some personal things and getting gifts out to them at different times, or
Yes.
certainly maybe inviting them to events. So tell us how you think about that.
Yeah, so the social media newsletters, we always do a holiday party. So we have a holiday party every year. And now our clients, it's kind of weird to go to your realtor's holiday party and like where no one knows each other. But now it's a thing and like people look forward to it. And they even say, like, oh, I get to hang out with Andrew, our attorney, or I get to hang out with Dean and Nina, our lender. And they see each other only once a year. But they have a great time and they love it. And it's from like circles because we service all of Chicagoland area, city and suburbs. There will truly be people who wouldn't see each other only for this one time of year, and it's during the holidays, so people do make an effort to come out. I don't know, we have anywhere between 70 to 90 people come to our holiday parties. So that's like a pretty big number. So yeah, that's always a fun time. I think that both my husband and I do a great job in staying connected with our spheres. It got to a point where, we couldn't really do dinners all the time with our clients just because we have children, smaller children. So we would like group people together while we had dinner. Again, people who didn't know each other. So, and that has been a lot of fun too. So, staying connected throughout the year, like we know lots of our clients like certain things. So, we would say, hey, do you want to go play tennis or golf or things like that? Activities. If everyone should join like get a hobby if they don't have, and it's healthy for you. Blow off some steam, but on top of that, that is one easy way for a sphere of influence that you would have never known otherwise. So pickle, working out, running, whatever it is, you got to get a hobby. So that has been really fantastic as well. Yeah, we do gift. So we typically do we my husband is Korean, I'm of Asian descent as well, Chinese and Vietnamese. So we put a lot of focus on Lunar New Year. So we do a huge marketing campaign for Lunar New Year, and I mean, anybody's welcome to get our Lunar New Year gifts. If you want it, send me a DM and I'll send it to you. But typically we drop off all of our Lunar New Year gifts to our clients every year, and it's coincidentally at a really great time because it's in February, so it really kicks off to the spring market as well.
And also a time when other realtors aren't probably doing lots of gift giving. So
Yeah,
it's a great time just to stick out among the crowd.
yeah. Don't do Christmas. You could do Thanksgiving pies.
Yeah.
You could drop off like a plant in the spring. You can do something fun in January, like for dry January. You could do like a board game or something. So, but don't do Christmas.
Yeah. Too crowded. Too crowded.
Yes.
Now, I have two last questions for actually I have three last questions for you. One is how important is well, how do you stay on top of the MLS, knowing everything that you can? Obviously, you can't know the entire Chicagoland area at an expert level because we have so many suburbs, we have so many neighborhoods and suburbs. But for your chosen sort of niche, and I know you guys work everywhere, but there are obviously areas that you know extremely well. How often are you on your own, even before getting a client in that area? How often are you reviewing listings, seeing what's out there, seeing where prices are at, and how important is that?
Oh, I do it every day. So I have two searches set up. I have a search for pocket listings in the Chicagoland area, and I review it every day. And then I have search just for the suburb that I live in, just so I know what's going on in that suburb as well, because people ask me all the time, like, "Oh, did you see that house on Washington or whatever?" So I would say you should set up a search for yourself for the area that you want to, and if anything, do a search for pocket listings, because that is what you can reach out to buyers with. Like, hey, this is a pocket listing, and this is how you create value as a realtor to your clients, is providing them information that they wouldn't get otherwise, or if they were to get it, they would be getting it later.
Yeah, I think that's great. Okay, another question. I know that you are a huge fan of sneaking in real estate into conversations with non-real estate people, right? Just, the public. So tell us about sort of how you do that and how it works for you.
Yeah, so I watched Lady Bird like when it came out. I don't know if anybody's watched that movie, but there's a scene where the mom and the daughter had just gotten into a fight, and the mom is like, "Let's go do our favorite thing." And then the daughter's like, okay, yeah, let's go do our favorite thing. Then the next scene is that they wake up in the morning and then they get ready and then they go to open houses. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, I honestly, I don't know. Maybe we'll do this already and they know. I was legit mind blown that people will go to open houses that aren't actually really looking. I don't know. Did you know this? I didn't know
I,
this.
I did only because I've heard from so many agents that this happens in their area, and but it's yeah, it's not something I've ever done.
And then like in the scene they pretend that they're like
Yeah,
interested in the house. So to me, this is what I just assume. Like, why would I not think they were interested if they weren't there, you know? So yeah, I would say that I realize that everybody wants to know about real estate, if it's ugly, if it everybody. So, knowing listings that are on the market, understanding where, what reading about real estate and being able to, whenever the opportunity arises that you can talk about it, that's when you can take these nuggets of information that you've been doing and researching and learning, and this is why I read so much about real estate or just learn so much about what's going on, is the availability of having that conversation when the time is right. Because I don't want to just say, hey, give me my business card. I don't even have business cards, but like, just like, hey, use me. No, I don't think anyone's going to do that anymore. I think it's the really just the being knowledgeable about your market and being able to put it in conversation when you can.
that's great. Okay, two last questions. One is open houses. We have Maria here in the chat is saying she doesn't do a lot of open houses unless the owner asks for it, or she has a lot of appointments. How important are open houses, Amy, to you when you get listings?
I think it's very important. Every new listing that we get, we do at least two, if not three open houses. We're starting to do open houses on Friday now too. So we'll go live Wednesday or Thursday. We'll do an open house Friday, Saturday, and now we're going to start doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday open houses. You know, lots of people, due to the change in law, some people don't want to sign the buyer's agreement, but you would still want to, for your seller, have the opportunity that they go see the property. So I do think it is important to do open houses, but that's my
Yeah,
opinion. People can do what they want.
sure. Yeah, well, it's a great way just to meet people that you might not otherwise meet too, right? Like that's part of the whole point is maybe there's some unrepresented buyers that walk in and obviously but it all depends on how you market it too. Like I've done, by the way, we're going to be talking about open houses here just a little bit. So for those of you that are like, they don't really work for me, we're going to make them work for you when Mary Lou comes on. All right, my very last oh, by the way, Carolyn asked, how do you set up a search for pocket listing? Carolyn, we won't talk about that here, but here's my recommendation. If you're in the Chicagoland area, you're going to want to call the MLS. Our provider is called MRED. They have a help desk. They literally pick up the phone within one ring. They love these questions. Call them, ask them. They will set it up for you. If you're in a different market in the country, just call your local MLS, ask them how to set this up. They'll show you. This way you don't have to fumble around and figure it out. I know our MLS system, I'd like it to be a lot more advanced technologically. It isn't, so it's a little tricky to use. That's why these help desks exist. Okay, last question for Amy. Oh, sorry, we have one more question. Marion asks, what days do you see the most traffic for open houses?
It just depends on the, like, if there's a holiday weekend happening or whatnot. But I would say, the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. There's so many people who, because lack of inventory, that want to get in right away. So that's why I started doing Friday open houses, because they were asking for it anyways. So that's why I was doing it. But certainly at least Saturday or Sunday, you should have an open house for any new listing.
That's
And
great. And then
on weekends.
are you doing anything sort of creative to get the open house knowledge out there? Is it just putting it on the MLS, or are you doing other marketing efforts to let people know about it?
Yeah, I mean, if people have not been boosting their listings on social media when you post it, I highly suggest to do that. And you can make it very specific by zip code, by like city, by age bracket, so you're not wasting your dollars on like an 18-year-old or 15-year-old to look at this. You can make it very specific. If I have a ranch, I may be doing it a little bit just because of stairs and whatnot, but you can do all of this on on social media, on Instagram and on Facebook. So boosting is really fantastic. And even if you want to just do it, like have Instagram and Facebook do it for you, that's really fantastic too, because it's going to be similar to your followers. So I would say boosting is very helpful. Reverse prospecting, we it's a lot of work, but you can get all the emails of all the agents who this listings being sent, and we send out when our open house is going to happen. So we have an e-flyer, and we do that for every new listing that we get.
Love it. Last question. This is a tricky one. I'm going to put Amy a bit on the spot. So, Amy, feel free to think this one out a little bit. But I want to have two questions that are wrapped into kind of one. One is, what's the best piece of advice you ever received as an agent, or what's one great piece of advice you received as an agent from another agent?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, this is more of like a work life situation.
Yeah.
But Barbara O'Connor, anybody in the Chicagoland area, in the Chicagoland area will know who she is. She's an amazing realtor, amazing managing broker. And then when I was starting out in my career, it was really important for me that I would have time for my children. So she told me just block out like your son's hockey, her kids play hockey, but so she said my son's hockey game was just important as this listing presentation. So block out what's important to you, don't and work around it. You don't need to tell your clients that your son is having a hockey game. You can just say, I'm currently not available at the time, but I'm available, and you give a different time. So, because this job you can burn out. So I think the reason why I love it so much and why I can be doing it for so long is that I created boundaries very early on, and she gave me that advice.
Great. So create boundaries, work-life balance. Don't burn yourself out. Nobody needs to be responding to texts at 12:30 at night. Well, I don't know. Maybe you want to, but you don't have
Yeah,
to.
you don't have to.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
you don't
And
have
then last question is, what's a bad piece of advice you ever received as an agent?
I don't know. There's a lot, I guess. Um, actually, I'm debating on taking a rental right now. Like, you don't know where your $1 million, $2 million buyer can come from. But she called me. She seems like a lovely woman. She lives in a very affluent area. She chose to share that in the phone conversation. She's helping her adult son get a rental. I'm like, you know what? I think she's gonna be a good lead. Like, don't be too caught up. Well, this is good advice. So I'm not, but
Yeah.
people will say not to do it. And I
Yeah.
think you have to just go with your gut sometimes on who you're going to work with. You know,
And renters become buyers. So,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. So, but I would say, don't just focus on the dollar amount. I've sold the same buyer. I've sold a $200,000 house with them, and I've sold a $4 million house with them. Same person. You never know.
Yeah.
All I'm saying.
Amazing. Well, Amy, thank you so much for your time. Amy Duong Kim is our guest today. She's the second time she's been on our show. We love having her on. She's wonderful. And by the way, if you are an agent in another market and you have clients that move in and out of Chicago, guess what? You can talk to Amy. She would love to chat with you, maybe become a referral partner. And she as well has people that leave Chicago. A lot of people here as they get older go south, Florida, places like that. So certainly she wants to connect as well. So maybe you could create a little referral source there. So definitely reach out to her if you're in the Chicagoland area and you think you might be able to add value to Amy's team, or you want to just see if maybe you would be a good fit. She's not specifically looking for new team members now, but she always is open to having those conversations. So definitely reach out to her if you're on a team that maybe you're not getting the right attention to, or that you think you could add some value over to Amy. Reach out to her. She's wonderful, as you can tell, and super sweet and super kind and generous. And we're so honored to have her. So thank you, Amy. We will let you get back to your prospecting, and really appreciate your time today. Guys, we will take a break. We will be back in 10 minutes. So go feel free to refresh, and we will see you soon. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.